and say good morning to everybody else. We're just having a look at where Navandra is precisely. David's zeroing in on things here.
Hard to believe they haven't got rain.
Yeah, David can't believe you haven't got rain now. So, boy, the Fijians must have done something wrong to the rain gods, but he reckons it's pretty close. So you'll be pleased if that comes. Well, they'll be pleased if it comes. So good morning from Patricia and David, Gulf Harbour Radio, here on 8752, as we are each weekday morning. And we have actually got some blue sky, which is rather pleasant. We were getting sick of the grey. It's 15 degrees, what it was earlier on. No wind at all from the southwest. All that strong system just stayed north of Opua there, bedeviling anyone trying to be late in. 1011.4 and dropping. So we've got about 20% cloud, and it's from the north. I thought it was pretty clear until I came into the radio room and could see the northern sky. So is there anybody with anything urgent? We'll give a pause and then we'll go from there. I was in fact going to play. I was very late. You will know how I always play national anthems, and I didn't think there was any national anthem in September until I happened on it last night from Brazil. A really stirring national anthem, and I was, if Mr. Troy had been on earlier, I would have played it for Marina. But anyway, apologies for missing the Brazilian national anthem. All right, let's go for a bit of news. Our newspapers, of course, are still full of all of the emancipation stuff for women getting the vote 125 years ago. Things have really changed in 125 years for women. In fact, if we had been broadcasting Gulf Harbour Radio 125 years ago, I wouldn't be here. That sounds a bit Irish, I know, but the life expectancy for women way back then was 60, and now it's 83. Not that I think I'll be doing this when I'm 83, but boy, that is a huge difference, isn't it, between the 1890s and 2018. You got married a lot earlier back then. The average age was 23. Now it's 29. The average income on today's standards for women was 8,420, and now it's very close to 50,000. This is New Zealand dollars. And back then, only 19% were in paid workforce. 48% are in the workforce now. So just significant differences. Not sure whether all were good, but anyway, they certainly have changed in the last 125 years. All right, getting on to a bit of world news. As you know from yesterday, the Korean meeting is taking place. All seems to be going pretty well between the two leaders. Mr. Kim is indeed going to shut down one nuclear missile testing site. But now he said that he'll only do it if the US does something similar. God, he's a piece of work, isn't he? So I don't know what's going to happen there, but evidently they have signed, the defence ministers have signed an accord to say they won't fight each other, so that's pretty good. I'm not sure what will happen to the line across the middle there, but anyway, they have decided to
38th parallel.
38th, is it? 38th parallel. They will not have any more conflict between each other in the very near future. Well, what else are we going to talk about? Oh, from the sublime to the ridiculous. New Zealand now has black toilet paper available. Evidently the stuff is kinder to the environment, and it doesn't go through the bleaching process, so that's why it's kinder to the environment, not after it's used. But anyway, it's a Rotary project, and they are going to put all proceeds into the community causes that they have. So there you have it, black toilet paper. It actually fits New Zealand, doesn't it, with the All Blacks and the Black Ferns and all the rest of it.
Popular in Africa.
Popular in Africa, yeah. All right. Going back to America. Was I there? But anyway, I wasn't there. But we usually have something from America. The scientists believe, they have recently found just off Newport, Rhode Island, the remains of Captain Cook's Endeavour. There's going to be some big announcement tomorrow. It will take an awful lot of research because it's not exactly in one piece. There's just planks and things, but they believe that once they do further study that they have found the remains of the Endeavour. So that will be interesting. It's probably about time we started talking about the various options, and this is for the new cruises to New Zealand, where to come in. Your choices are in fact a little more limited than they used to be, but as far as we're concerned, this is Chameleon, if you've never been to New Zealand before, Opua is absolutely fantastic. It doesn't matter whether you're going to spend the rest of the time in Whangarei or Gulf Harbour or Tauranga Bridge Marina or wherever, but to come into Opua is fantastic. There's a great welcome there. It's a tiny little spot in quite a beautiful area.
Traditional place.
And it's very traditional to arrive in Opua. You come up the channel, which means I need to discuss about coming in at night time. And that really is no problem at night time. It's a very long, protected channel. It's extremely well lit with range lights, so you really don't have to worry about coming in at night time. The one problem that you have got in Opua, however, is that it is tidal, very tidal. So we know that because there's still a little hole in one of the pylons where our anchor hit when we turned around inside and went at rather great speed to where we wanted to go. But anyway, you don't have to worry if you are in the time of great tides and it's just going to be a bit hard to work out with two on board. Then what you can do is just go on the outside of the breakwater. It's traditional, of course, to go on the inside where you've got just slightly more protection, but it is protected anyway. So if it is difficult with wind and tide, then just go on the outside. Some of you will have to do that anyway in the major passage time because there'll be just a pile of boats at the major good passage where the times. But Opua, they really do look after you. They're very efficient with customs. Lavecchio can confirm that. They come quite quickly, do their thing. You get someone from, I don't know what they call it, the Chamber of Commerce anyway, comes and gives you a package of stuff that you'll get to know the area, and it's just a very nice, pleasant place to arrive, and then you can recuperate and go from there. What else is there? Oh, sticking with New Zealand, the military, the Defence Force, replaced all their Steyr rifles last year with the Mars L rifle. This is for the ex-military folk. It's a US manufacturer, Lewis Machine and Tools, but they have a bit of a problem with them because the pins are failing. There's cracks around the bolt housing and the trigger mechanisms. It was a $59 million deal, but they're still very, very happy with the rifle. It's got a range out to 600 metres, but evidently there's been a bit of a problem with the steel works. Maybe they got the steel from, get it from China, sure. But anyway, they've got a bit of a problem with their new rifles. For those that are going, I just mentioned going down to Whangarei. Our Autocar magazine came yesterday and it reminded me to tell you of things that you can do close to Whangarei. About 17 kilometres west of Whangarei is the Packard Museum for those car enthusiasts. Evidently, I don't know why, but a fellow there many years ago decided to start collecting Packards. He's got 61 of them now. They reckon it's the biggest display in the world, including Ohio, where they were originally manufactured. Then it went to Detroit. But Mr. Packard was very innovative, and he was the first person to develop the steering wheel. He did the first V12 car. So this collection is kind of fantastic there if you are interested in cars. And if you're not interested in cars but are interested in potato mashers, radio equipment and historic motorcycles, that's all there as well. He's got a very beautiful 1919 V12 powered opera coupe that was first the ride of the governor of Massachusetts, and then it was owned by a rather a notorious bootlegger, William McCoy, who used to get stuff from Canada and bring it into the States in that same car. So if you've got nothing to do and you're finished all your boat jobs, there you have it. What else have I got here? That's about it, really, for news at the moment. There's all sorts of other boring stuff going on in the world, but that's about where we are. And apologies to Brazilians out there for not playing your national anthem on the 7th of September. Anybody with anything for Gold Harbour? I'll just see what we've got here. Good morning from Diego at Tabiuni, where it's overcast 5 to 10 knots from the southeast. Muscat Cove is 15 knots from the southeast. Clear, barometric is 1012, 27. Wow, thanks Margie. Don't know what 27's like. We don't really get too much of 27 degrees here in the Auckland area. All right, anybody else with anything?
Goranui.
Go ahead, Graham.
Yeah, you can tell David we can see that cloud coming over the western horizon over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good because otherwise we'd think that the Japanese were putting on a false satellite picture for us to look at, because it is breathing down, so people will get out their rain collectors very shortly. Thanks for that. Oh, and I did mean to tell you, tomorrow we are going to be very, very brief at switching off. So anybody with any questions, weather questions, if you could email them in between now and then, ghradio@extra.co.nz, and the extra is XTRA. We both have to race off separately in both cars. We're going down to the skid pad in the Waikato tomorrow. It was a choice of the morning or the afternoon, and the afternoon would mean that we would be in the horrific Friday night commute traffic. So we thought we'd be in the probably equally horrific morning commute traffic. So we need to get going. We'll do the net, but we'll be very, very prompt to depart. So I wasn't going to take my car, but David talked me into it. He's a bit bossy. The skid pad is actually quite fun. You get to really find out how your car handles in the wet, because they have water spouts coming up from the base of this very slippery concrete pad, and you have to do all sorts of fast figure eights and braking and stuff like that, and the concrete wall is rather solid looking. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow morning, and we'll for that reason be very, very prompt to get out of here. Any questions, comments before I pass the microphone?
Excel.
Oh, good morning, Excel, and a pretty good signal. You still in Vavau, over?
Roger. We're still in Vavau, calling out on the 27th, over.
Okay, hauling out on the 27th. Oh, well, you'll be one of these ones that will have a piece of paper to show that they've got a clean bottom, over.
We're calling out to meet Excel in Vavau, over.
Oh, are you? Oh, that's an interesting place to haul out and leave. Usually people just leave them in the water. I'm just trying to work out where would they be.
I don't know now.
No, we don't know. We haven't been there for such a long time. If you're looking at the main mooring bay, where is the haul out, over?
The haul out is on the boat start, and then on the other side of the town is number 4, over.
Oh, okay, thank you. Number 4. Yeah, I can imagine where that would be now. Oh, that's interesting. How much space have they got? I mean, how many boats would be able to be hauled out there, over?
They've got a lot of space. It's an old quarry. They take catamaran and monohull and probably room for you can have 25 to 30 boats, over.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, it's quite different. Boy, it's been a while since we were there then. Yeah, you've got a very good signal this morning, by the way. So conditions are getting to be quite good. All right, well, thank you for that. That's an easy way to come home on a 747, or 737 as it is from Tonga. All right, I'm going to pass the microphone now to David, and we'll see what's ahead of you.
Okay, good morning. A few of you have been asking what satellite that I use for the microwave data. that gives me the true wind speed and direction in our area, actually around the world, but I pick the area that we're dealing with. It is the ASCAT satellite, ASCAT. And the patch at 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon, I wanted to see what our subtropical depression was doing. And it was centered at exactly 31 south and 176.5 east. And the winds at that point were 35 knots, cyclonic winds, of course. So it's weakening as we predicted earlier. It was producing 40 knots, getting up to 45, and as I said, all cyclonic. So the direction would be a function of where you were in relation to the center of the tropical cyclone, subtropical cyclone. Now, our 500 shortwave is still supporting this particular depression, and on either side is a 500 ridge that's supporting the highs. We've been talking about these two highs now for a few days. In the Tasman, we've got another 500 shortwave trough. It's left leaning and has produced a very nasty Southern Ocean depression, 950 millibar, 950. Plus, on top of that, we've got a complex depression that is just west of the South Island. And one of those cold fronts from one of these lows is extending all the way up to Hervey Bay in Queensland. Now back to that subtropical depression again. The occluded front that we have been describing yesterday in particular runs all the way up to Tonga and continues to Fiji and Vanuatu. So still producing a bit of uncomfortable activity. Looking at Friday, tomorrow at around lunchtime, the eastern high is going to be centered roughly at about 150 west. So it's out there. It's south of French Polynesia. The central pressure is 1036 at 1036 high. So very, very strong. While the Oz high, the Australian high, is at 1030. And it's centered pretty much near Melbourne. Now, over New Zealand, we're going to see a number of low centers. None of them are very strong. But by lunch on Saturday now, the northern one is going to intensify, and it looks to be located near 32 and 175 east, and that puts it almost due north of North Cape. So a bit of activity there as well. So there you have the general picture for the Southwest Pacific. Up in the tropics, there is a tremendous convective amount of activity. Troughs are virtually everywhere up there, really too numerous to detail, but they are affecting the Solomons, Rotuma, Tuvalu, Tokelau, Wallis, Samoa, the Northern Cooks, and not much left. They're everywhere up there. It's a total mess. And of course, plenty of rain, and there are a number of heavy-duty thunderstorms that are associated with them, particularly as you get up into the lower latitudes. So quite dangerous in terms of a masted sailboat out in the middle of all of that. But anyway, not too many of you are up in that area, but there is that activity. And by the way, the prevailing winds up there remain coming out of the east, so easterly winds. So those that are following the ENSO cycle, where the driver of the ENSO are westerly winds, we're not seeing any of those type of winds at all at this point. Still easterlies, and that's why the cycle is still in neutral. And as far as the islands go this morning, Tonga, Fiji, and Vanuatu are all trough infested. So not great weather in the tropics, really, except for our crown, our jewel, and that happens to be New Caledonia. That's the one island group that's doing very well. So starting with a closer look at Tonga, the trough affects the entire group. So expect cloud and showers today. And there's breaks in all of this, by the way. It's not solid cloud and solid rain. So it's just a typical lightweight trough, if you will. Tomorrow, cloudy periods will continue, I think, along with the showers. And from a wind standpoint, expect east to northeast, probably about 15 to 20. Today, rising up to 25 at times. And of course, there's going to be poor visibility when you do have heavy rain events. And that's a pain if you're trying to get through a little pass. Open waters, expect rough seas, and there is a moderate easterly swell rolling in. Now at 6 a.m. this morning, conditions at the various airports that I look at the METARs, which are abbreviated weather conditions that all of the airports put out. Babao east-southeast at 10 knots, and the barometer there was 1011. The highs had showers easterly 5 to 10, and the barometer also 1011. And Tongatapu had rain northeast 5 to 10, and their barometer was 1012. Over to Fiji, where the trough does affect the group. Apparently it's pretty clear in parts of the Asauas, but as Patricia mentioned, there is cloud off to the west that's moving east, so let's hope we get a little bit of rain for the farmers that need it.
Cane growers.
And who?
Cane growers.
And the cane growers, yeah. So again, cloudy periods for Fiji and scattered showers about the country, not everywhere all the time, but that's what scattered means. Winds are not too bad at all. Today, south to southeast, 15 to 20. Moderate seas and a moderate southeast swell. And as usual, poor visibility in those heavy showers if you get them. And tomorrow about the same, southeast about 15 to 20 for most of Fiji. And of course, if you're in a protected area, this wind forecast doesn't apply. I think that's pretty well understood. Trough conditions over at Vanuatu as well. Much of it light also with breaks just like in Fiji, but it's still a trough, so expect scattered showers with a mix of blue sky. This morning, scattered showers were reported in Luganville and parts of Port Vila. Tana was cloudy as well. Wind moderate east to southeast 15 to 20, and the seas in the open water about 2 meters. The airports, the actual conditions there, took a look at some of the METARs for some of these spots. Sola, as an example, had southeast 5 to 10, broken to overcast, and they had showers, and the barometer up there in Sola 1009er. Malakula reported southeast 5 to 10. They had some rain, and the barometer there 1010, 1010. Fate, the airport, northeast 5, overcast. I had past showers, and the barometer 1012. And over to Tana, south to Tana, southeast winds 5 to 10. A few clouds, and barometer 1012. And in the southern part, Anishim, the airport there, called for north-northeast 5. A few clouds about, and the barometer 1013. So for the group in general, winds tomorrow east-southeast to southeast about 10 to 15 knots. So not much wind, which is good news. And finally, New Caledonia, they show cloud actually coming up from the south, scattered to overcast in our area, but fully overcast south of the reef. And as we look at satellite imagery, which I'm doing right now, you can see the strato Q. Actually, it's a little bit broken just as it hits the reef. South of the reef, it looks pretty solid. So it's heading that way. Whether or not it gets to our southern lagoon, we'll have to see. Winds today, pretty light air, variable to southerlies, less than 10 knots, I think, and light tomorrow as well. Mostly southeasterlies, 10 knots or less, and partly cloudy. And possibly a shift to light southwesterlies by lunchtime. tomorrow, and then Saturday, southerlies. A little bit more wind on Saturday, 15 to 20. So today and tomorrow are really the best days for exploring. Saturday, maybe late troughing activity, maybe. So there you go for New Cal, and that's pretty much all I've got. If you want more detail on where you are, give us a call. Any questions or comments, give us a call as well. So here is the chief.
And I forgot to mention that flying fish, Jeffrey reported he's on his way to the Huppies, east, northeast 8, continuous rain, overcast. Boy, it's not very nice travelling conditions. Mesa Luna, they're in Yosawa, Urara, wherever that is, sunny, with east winds. So they haven't got that much of that cloud coming. It'll be interesting to see whether it just sort of nudges the island or not. 10 to 15 knots from there. Thanks, Jeff. All right, anybody with anything? Oh, it's so nice to see the sun outside the window, but I guess we'll have to not make, well, who knows what's going to happen.
That's going to be a nice day today.
Nice day today. Well, it will be until I do the washing, probably. All right, as another reminder, we will be very prompt tomorrow, so any questions that you might have, if you could get them in so that we can handle them, maybe we'll start the weather a little bit earlier than usual, and we will certainly be doing the outlook for the weekend.